So we'd like to welcome everyone to our virtual officer training. This is the last night of the training. So tonight we're going to be having our health and safety officers, recreation leaders, and community service. So tonight we're going to first start with Melina Maddox. Melina, would you like to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Melina Maddox. I'm from the Oak Grove Explorers 4-H Club. I've been in 4-H for 8 years, and I was the health and safety officer for my club for 3 years. So what is the safety officer's job? Their job is to help keep their members safe, and how they're going to do that is they're going to give a short presentation of a safety topic at each meeting, and this doesn't have to be very long. It can be 1 to 3 minutes on a safety tip or a safety talk. Some good resources are your safety handbook that you can find on the internet, Pinterest, your project books like for shooting sports or like woodworking projects, and like they most likely have safety tips that you can share with your club. You could also plan like a field trip. So one that my club did was we went to the fire station for fire prevention. You could also bring in a guest speaker, like a vet to talk about animal safety, or a state highway patrol officer to talk about highway safety. And the safety officer handbook on page 2, if you could share that.
Yes, give me 1 second to bring that up. Is that the page, Melina? Oh, you said safety. I'm sorry. We'll get to that.
It might be page 3.
Okay.
Yeah, that one.
Okay.
So on page 3, it says to choose at least 3 activities to complete. There are good resources in the back of your book if you need any ideas. So what is a health officer's job? Their job is to help keep your members safe and healthy. So like the safety officer, you're going to give a short presentation, and you can use your handbook, the internet, Pinterest, and project books like food and nutrition and health projects that would most likely have safety tips. And the health officer book on page 3.
Is that the right page, Melina?
It should look like the one that the safety officer has.
I'm sorry, I need to switch over.
That one.
There we go.
You need to choose at least 3 activities to complete. Some good examples for health and safety tips or talks are like germs. When I was the health and safety officer, I did an activity where I called up some volunteers and I had them close their eyes and act like they were washing their hands, and they had gloves on with paint, and the paint acted as soap, and when they opened their eyes, they could see like the results of how well their hand washing was, and like different parts of their hands that they needed to like wash more. So that's something that you could do right now just because of everything that's happening. You could also do one about crosswalk safety when it's back to school time, and safety approaching pet and animals. Those are just a few that I did. So an idea is my club meets twice a month, February through September. So one thing that you could do is you guys could both present at each meeting depending on how much time you have, or you could switch it up, like every other meeting the health officer could present or the safety officer, or you guys could like kind of collaborate depending on like if you have different ideas that you think the other officer might want to be interested in talking about. So another idea is if you have a project. Last year, I took the Truth About Tobacco project, and I found a really good idea on Pinterest that you could use for a safety and health topic. and it's called Lima Bean Baby. So what it represents is this jar. It represents a baby in the mother's womb of a mother who doesn't smoke. And then there's this lima bean and tobacco water, which represents a mom who does smoke and how the baby's affected. So this is just a really good idea of a short demonstration that the two officers could team up with. And it's a really good visual, and it's good for information to kind of like portray why it's so bad for your health. And if you need any more sources, just keep in mind about your handbook. If you look in the back, some of them have really good links for different like form ideas or like different activities you can do for each of them. And definitely Pinterest. Pinterest is really good for stuff like this. And that's all I have.
Melina, did you want me to share the videos?
You can.
Okay. Let's see, remind me, Riley, what was your office again? Are you health or safety or?
I am recreation officer.
Recreation, sorry about that. Hadley?
Safety.
Okay. Taylor?
I'm news reporter.
Okay, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
So we are going to take a look at one of the videos. We'll do safety, since that's what, I have to find it. That's what Hadley said she was. Okay, so what screen are you seeing now?
The one with the videos.
Okay, very good. Just making sure. So this is, just to point this out, I wanted to mention this resource. It's on the state 4-H page. If you go to ohio4h.org and then click on the Families tab, go to Members, and then to the Officer Resources, that will bring you to this page here with the gavel. Then there's a video for each of the offices. There's also officer books and then several resources for each of the officers as well. Melina talked about several different activities that are available. There's several things on here for health and safety as well. So we'll just go ahead and watch the safety officer video.
Hello, my name is Cameron from the Ohio 4-H Teen Leadership Council, and I'll be talking with you about the Healthy Living Officer for Safety. As safety officer, your role is to plan a safety-related activity for each meeting. This activity can be a simple, fun fact, such as, did you know that household accidents are the cause of more than 20,000 deaths and 21 million medical visits each year? It can also be roll call with the safety theme of, do you wear your seatbelt? Or you can even plan a presentation about your favorite safety topic. Whether you choose to do your own demonstration or set up a speaker to come to your meeting, make sure you check with your advisor and plan ahead so it can be put in your club's agenda. Be sure to properly introduce your speaker and make them feel welcome at the meeting. For more information about the duties of the safety officer, refer to the Officer Resources page at ohio4h.org. If you have any questions, ask your advisor or your local extension office, and they will be able to help you. Congratulations again, and good luck on your role as safety officer of your 4-H club.
Okay, so thank you, Melina. So we're going to, any questions for Melina? Is there any questions, anything you guys thought about that you might have had a question? Health and safety are both very important, and it is a challenge to try to have something for every meeting, but it's that's a good way to increase your public speaking skills as well. So, any questions? I didn't mean to cut anyone off if I didn't give enough time. Okay, so we'll go ahead and go to recreation leaders, and this is going to be taught by Alex Bauerbach. So Alex, we'll let you go ahead and introduce yourself, and then you ought to be able to go ahead and have control as well.
All right, awesome. Thank you, Bruce. Yeah. I am Alex Bauerbach. I'm from the Backyard Gang 4-H Club. I'll see if I can get the PowerPoint on here. All right, there it is. Good. All right, so we're going to go ahead and start with the video. Similar, it can also be found. Let's see if we can get it to load.
Alex, you might need to turn off your camera, your video camera. You're kind of cutting out, so maybe just try turning your camera
Okay.
on.
It looks like it wants to. We'll see.
And if you need me to show it on my side, I can do that as well.
Okay. Yeah, I might have you do that. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. We'll have you. Oh, it's the recreation officer.
Oh, did I push the wrong one?
You did. You picked that historian.
I didn't scroll far enough. We had historian last night.
That's fine.
Hello, I am Maddie from the Ohio 4-H Teen Leadership Council, and I'm going to take the next couple of minutes to present the responsibilities of the 4-H recreation leader. As recreation leader, it is your job to plan and lead a fun activity for your club to participate in at each meeting. You can do this by leading a game, planning a field trip, singing a song as a club, organizing your club to build something.
Bruce, I can't hear the video. I can see her talking. I don't know if everybody else can hear it or not.
I can't
Yeah, I
hear
think
it
the
either.
audio turned off.
I
in the video.
can't hear either.
Is to say, if you can hear my voice, clap once. Listen to the number of claps and compare it with the number of people there. If everyone is paying attention,
We're going to go back. Sorry.
That's fine.
hello, I am Maddie from the Ohio 4-H Teen Leadership Council, and I'm going to take the next couple of minutes to present the responsibilities of the 4-H recreation leader. As recreation leader, it is your job to plan and lead a fun activity for your club to participate in at each meeting. You can do this by leading a game, planning a field trip, singing a song as a club, organizing your club to build something, or almost anything else that you can think of that involves teamwork and fun. One of the most important parts of this job is creating activities that are right for your club. You need to take into account the age, size, and special accommodations of your club members to try and plan accordingly. Another important thing you need to do is make sure that you have all of the materials needed for the activity you have planned. For instance, if you want to organize a kickball game for your club, you need to make sure you have a ball and bases along with enough people to form teams. The next and most important job you have is to teach the game. For this, you need to speak in a loud voice so that everyone can hear, and you need to speak clearly so that everyone can understand you. You need to go over all of the rules and objectives before trying to start the activity and make sure that everyone understands the directions. Always ask if anyone has any questions before beginning the activity. Making sure you have the attention of all club members before beginning the activity is also very important. A good way to get attention is to say, if you can hear my voice, clap once. Listen to the number of claps and compare it with the number of people there. If everyone is paying attention, then you can get started. If not, you can try again with 2 claps. This is one attention grabber I've found useful in the past, but there are also other things you can do. You can experiment and find out what you like best. Always keep safety in mind and encourage good sportsmanship. Don't allow the group to say something negative or use any put-downs. Tell them they can only give compliments and encourage, and most importantly, have fun. For more information about the duties of the recreation leader, refer to the Officer Resources page, which can be found at ohio4h.org. If you have any questions, always ask your advisor or local extension office, and they will be able to help you. Congratulations again, and good luck on your role as recreation leader of your 4-H club.
All right. Thank you very Hopefully now it'll work.
Yeah, yep, you've had your video off. I think that was helpful. The sound.
Yeah.
Better.
Okay. Thank you. All right, so we'll go ahead and begin. What is a recreation officer? So congratulations on your new role as your 4-H club's recreation officer. It is an honor for sure. It is your responsibility to make sure that the club is having fun, as well as gaining new skills and teamwork. You are being given the opportunity to raise awareness about the 4-H program in your county, the fun you're supposed to show, the fun that 4-H is, and the work your members are doing, and how you're giving back to the community. And through the recreational leadership position, you're able to do this hands-on. As a 4-H club officer, you represent your club, your county, and the 4-H leader. What are the responsibilities and what is needed of a recreational officer? So what is recreation? We'll start with the basics. Recreation is doing activities that are basically fun. They're supposed to get you engaged and work with others. There are 2 main types of games. There are the active games, which involve moving. Oh, I think it shut down. Oh no. Do you have it on your end, Bruce?
I don't know that I do. Let me look here real quick.
Okay, sorry about that. I don't know why it shut
Well,
off.
Zoom, it's just things happen.
Right.
Give me a second here, I'm looking. Okay, I think I do.
Okay.
Okay.
Awesome. Cool. Thank you. All right. So as I was saying, that there are 2 different types: active games and passive games. Active games are where you're moving around, and passive games are where you're sitting down. We'll discuss some examples later. A good recreation leader uses a variety of active and passive games. Throughout the year, you'll be planning different activities. So it's a good idea to have both active and passive games. Recreation always has a specific purpose, whether it's for getting acquainted or an opportunity to have fun and having teamwork and gaining those skills. Recreation is also a very effective educational tool and gives members a chance to be creative. This is vital, especially as they go through the 4-H experience. They will need to learn how to work with one another. You need to change the slide. Thank you. Yeah. So what does recreation provide? It provides fun in the club program. It gives a break from just doing the regular meeting. It's also an interest in club meetings. A chance to learn cooperation. It's a healthy outlet for competition, mental stimulation, opportunities for physical development, and a chance to practice leadership and social skills. The last point is probably the most important. It teaches the skills of teamwork and working with a group. Members of your club will use these in the club, and then also as they move on from 4-H. It's vital that they learn these skills. Okay, the next slide. Awesome, thank you. All right, so the duties and responsibilities. As the club recreation leader, you will make recreation for an important, making recreational activities for your club meetings. You also serve as chairperson on your club's recreation committee. If your club doesn't have a recreation committee, we encourage you to talk to your advisor about starting one. It's important that you work with the advisor one-on-one when you plan these activities. The activities should also be based on the interests of your club members. You should prepare games or activities for each meeting, and you want to practice those before you actually present them, so you have an idea of what you're doing. You want to make sure you have all the equipment needed. For example, if you were doing an activity that you need, you want to teach the rules of the game, so make sure everybody understands and they play fairly. You want to encourage everyone to participate. Make sure that all members have fun. If you see a 4-H member that's not, it doesn't look like they're enjoying themselves, make sure that you try and bring them into the meeting or into the activity and encourage them with their friends. You want to make sure that all faculties are cleaned up after you finish the activity. This is important, especially at your meeting place. You want to make sure that everything's as cleaned up and better than you found it. All right, next slide. All right, so what does it take to be a good recreational leader? It's important that you check with the extension educator for resources on recreation. The extension office has lots of resources, and there's several resources online. We'll talk about those at the end of the presentation. You also want to show enthusiasm. You want to get everybody excited about the activity, and then you also want to plan a program appropriate for the setting. For example, if you're having a meeting inside a formal building, you don't want to do a really crazy activity such as baseball. So you'd want to do more of a passive activity. You'll make sure you speak clearly, explain the signals you're going to use for starting and stopping. You want to know when to stop or change the games. It's always best to stop while everyone is still having fun. And you want to overlook mistakes because recreation is for fun. So it's okay if you make mistakes. It's not necessarily the activity they play, but it's the lessons they gain from the activity. All right, so some suggested activities. These include singing, playing checkers, dancing, skating, magic tricks, frisbee, volleyball, softball, kickball, and all those listed there, and then all kinds of others. The main idea is just getting all the 4-H members engaged and working with one another through recreation. So, thank you. You can change. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and talk about the activity planning sheet. This is used to plan an activity for the meeting and to share the activity with your club leader. This sheet is available in your packets and online. You can kind of see here, it talks about the different steps. Step 1, you would decide the activity. So let's go ahead and we'll go with soccer, for example. So you'd put soccer in step 1, and then step 2, you would figure out the number of members and how many teams you would need to have. Step 3 is identify and gather the necessary equipment. So for soccer, you might need a soccer ball, cones, and then anything else you might need. And then step 4, you want to write down the instructions on how to play the game and make sure you practice saying the instructions so all members know how to play the game. Step 5, you want to, like I said, practice. Step 6, you want to lead the game rather with other individuals. And then step 7, you want to evaluate the response. This is important. So if you were to do the activity again, you know what to do next time. So it says, did members enjoy the game? Did members understand instruction? And if you could change anything about the game, what would it be? All right. And then the next sheet we're going to talk about is the recreation plan. This is used to plan games and activities throughout the year. It's useful for staying organized and being prepared. This sheet is available, like the other one, in your leadership packets, and it's also available online. And then on the recreational plan sheet, you can tell it's kind of similar to the other sheet. However, this sheet, it lets you plan out for meetings throughout the year. As you can see, you put down the meeting day, you explain whether it's an active or passive games, and then the time needed, and then you would fill in all the blanks as needed. This sheet also does a great job of explaining how you can do more than one activity per meeting, but make sure that as soon as you have this sheet filled out, you present it to your club advisor so they can review it and give any suggestions as needed. All right, thank you. All right, so the fundamentals of game leadership. There are 2 main safety checks that you should always do before performing an activity. The one is physical safety check. This includes inspecting the field or room and looking for hazards, anything that's dangerous. You want to make sure that you remove anything like that. And you want to make sure all the equipment is in good repair and prepare yourself mentally as you are the game's leader. So you want to, like we said, practice. Make sure you're ready to lead the activity. And then also you want to do an emotional safety check. Kind of like it stated in the video, you want to make sure that a positive group attitude is throughout the game. This can be done through making sure that you do a mixer, some name games, some warm-up activities, just making sure everybody feels comfortable and that everyone is enjoying the activity. And then you always want to encourage positive reinforcements such as good job everyone, give yourself a hand, give yourself a big hand, which is where everyone raises their hand in the air, and give yourself a pat on the back. Each of these are important just to make sure everyone's enjoying themselves. And like she stated in the video, no put downs. We want to make sure everybody's having a great time. So, all right. Thank you. All right, and then finally, we want you to remember DADA, which means describe the game, demonstrate the game, ask for questions, do it, and adapt it. What would you do different next time? While you're leading your activities throughout your 4-H meetings, remember to use this acronym to remember what to do when you're doing the activity. And then finally, these are some resources that you can use when you're planning the activity. Bruce, could you click on the top red one? The blue ribbon, yeah.
Well, where is that? Is that on? Okay.
It's on the website, yeah.
Can you see that? It says blue ribbon on the screen? Or do I need to? There we go.
There it went. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. So this is one of the resources you can find online. It's called the Blue Ribbon Activity Guidelines. Down at the bottom, it gives several activities that are used throughout the state of Ohio. Over there it says Kansas State University, but it gives several great activities. I read through some of them, and so, a lot of them, you can see there's pre-meeting activities, there's activities for when you're in a circle, and then down closer to the bottom, there's drama activities for working with different groups of people. There's group activities, and there's even stunt activities. So a lot of them are they're just supposed to get everybody excited. And you can always look onto this resource for ideas for when you're planning your activities. And then the last link on the PowerPoint, it just takes you straight to the extension website where you can find all this information. So if you ever need to find more resources, you can always check with them or check the extension office in Washington County. So other than that, I think that concludes my presentation. Are there any questions?
So Alex, when you was a recreation leader, what was your go-to game? Did you have a go-to game that you felt comfortable leading and the kids liked at the club level?
I actually was never a recreational leader, but yeah, but I particularly really enjoyed the team building activities. I know several of them involve ropes or passing. I think one of the images showed it, passing a hula hoop or with your hands and a ball. I like those activities because they get everybody working together. And like I said, through recreation, you can really gain these skills that you can use later in life.
Any other questions for Alex? And we need to remember Dada, right?
Dada, that's right, Dada. Yep.
Okay, we're going to transition on to community service, and give me 1 second here. So for community service, we have Maggie Gottfried. And so Maggie, you should have control.
Yeah, I can share my screen.
Okay, go right ahead and introduce yourself as well.
All right. As I'm sharing this, I'll go ahead and do that. Hello, my name is Maggie Gottfried. I was a member of the Oak Grove Explorers 4-H Club for 7 years. And I actually was never a community service officer myself, but I have taken the My Hands Larger Service project, and I'll talk a little bit about that as well. I think it is an opportunity to enhance your time as an officer. So can everybody see this all right? Yes, okay.
Yes.
All right, thank you. So the first thing is just the basics. So essentially I took this from the resource that I'll show you in just a second. But it just says, let me move this around. Your role as a club, as the community service officer, is to be responsible for all aspects of one or more community service projects that your club is going to do during the 4-H year. So basically it's just stating that you're responsible for creating a project and implementing it with your group. So this is actually a link that you can find on the resource that Bruce showed earlier in the presentation. This is just the resource guide. You all should have access to this. This is a great resource. I read through this, and on all the pages, it has really great questions to ask yourself as you're going through your project, as you're planning it, organizing it. I would recommend asking yourself, if not write down the answers to all or most of these questions, just to make sure you have all your bases covered. So this just continues to offer suggestions about completing the project itself, and then evaluation after the project. All these steps are very important, the preparation, the actual completion of the project, and afterwards evaluating your success. And then this last page here, I think, is also a good opportunity because it has some optional things you can do with your project, such as publicizing it and making it a little bit more well-known. So whether that's on your club's Facebook page or maybe on social media, just a great opportunity to really promote 4-H in general. All right, so let me go back to my slides here. So here are just some things to think about when you're creating your project. So who to collaborate with. So you can collaborate with a different organization with your club during your project. I know my club, Oak Grove Explorers, weekly we would donate to a food pantry. And so every week we would ask that food pantry, what do you need this week? And that was a nice ongoing service opportunity for our club because people could just bring whatever was going to be donated that week, and everyone had a chance to participate, and really helped to make a difference. So that's just one way that you can collaborate with others. Also volunteers. So if you have a service project that needs about 3 volunteers, it's sometimes better to have a minimal number of volunteers than say 15 for that type of project. But you also don't want to be kind of cut short with your volunteers. So just make sure you really assess that. I know that in that resource I just showed you, there are some great questions concerning volunteers to be asking yourself. Also, club participation. So it's great to make sure that all your members can be involved with at least one of the projects. So it's great if you want to, during the club meetings, maybe before or after, go up to your club members, ask them what they're thinking about the service project that you've sort of presented to the group, how they want to get involved, how they're able to get involved. It's a great chance to kind of make sure you get to know everyone in your club while also promoting the participation. And this kind of also brings me to what you actually do during the meetings. So as the community service officer, you're going to be creating this project or projects for your club. During the meetings itself, you would want to let your advisor or president know ahead of time what you're planning to present to your club. It would be more or less just kind of giving an overview of where you are with the project. Maybe you can have some brainstorming opportunities with your club to kind of collaborate with your members. So that's what you'll actually be doing in the club. Most of it's also keeping your members updated. You want to make sure that you use all or most platforms that your club offers for keeping everyone updated and make sure everyone's on the same base. So I know some people don't have Facebook, so if your club has a Facebook page and an email list that everyone has access to at least one of those, it's probably best to put all the information onto both places so that everyone can have access to it and no one's being left out. Also, organization of the project. I will continue on with that on this next slide here. So I'll access this link in just a minute, but I'll say a couple of things first. It's really important that you stay super organized with your service project so you don't find yourself backtracking or having to redo things. I would recommend keeping everything in one place. So if you keep all of your papers, lists, maybe like a calendar of things that you need to do and when you need to do them, all in one binder, I think that would be a really great way to stay organized. And then you have all your information in one place that you can take with you. Whether you're meeting with someone about your project or you want to show your club what you've been doing, if you have it all in one place, it'll be a lot easier for you. Also, I would recommend, I didn't do this as much as I probably should have in community service projects in the past, but I would take a lot of pictures. I think that pictures are a really great opportunity to really promote 4-H. And if you are presenting your what you've done with your club, either at a local or state level, it's really great to have visuals to kind of show what you actually did. And it's pictures that you actually took and that actually happened with your entire group, which is unique to your group, and it's interesting. So this is another link that you can access on the resource that Bruce showed earlier. Unfortunately, there's not a video for the community service officers, but there are these 2 links. So this is just, the record book. So this is just going to help you really stay organized. If you can, maybe print out a couple of these pages from this record book and keep them in your binder. This kind of goes a little bit closer and more detail into your actual role as an officer. There's some more questions kind of ask yourself before you get started and just as you're continuing on with your project. So this page right here is these are all goals. So this first chart here will be more of general goals for your project. If you feel like you want to share these with your club, maybe have a nice outline that you can kind of present to everybody about this is what I want to get done, and maybe say like this is how I want to do it and when I want to have it completed by. Also, this chart below it is these are more of personal officer goals that you're going to want to make sure that you don't necessarily need to share these with your club unless you feel like you need to or want to, but you want to make sure that you're still getting these done and progressing as an officer yourself. This is a planning form that is also available in this resource. I think this looks really helpful. Basically, as you're going through your project, you can kind of keep everything on literally one page here. So you can write exactly what is needed for the project, what do you need to know, how you're going to find it out, what resources you're going to need. And I would recommend doing this before you start your project, or at least while you're in the planning process of it. So that way you see you have a general outline of what you need to do, and then you can create more of an action plan of how you need to go about that. I think that's everything. Oh yeah, and there's this page right here. So this is just gonna be a great place to keep your projects for the year organized. If you complete maybe one big project, then you might only fill up one or two of these boxes. But if you complete maybe a couple ongoing projects or smaller volunteering opportunities with your club, those might be, all these boxes may be filled. And it doesn't, as long as you're getting your club involved in the community and promoting community service, there's not a certain number of projects that you should reach. I think about like one or two, like larger ones, there may be a couple more smaller ones is completely fine. So let me go back to my slides here, if I can. Sorry, one second. And there we go. Okay. All right. So ideas of how to get involved. So some people may have a little bit of trouble coming up with a community service project, but I guarantee there are lots and lots of things you can do. So for example, we did the weekly donations with my club. That was a pretty simple, ongoing way that everyone could participate. I thought that was great. You can also do ongoing projects with volunteering. I know that same food pantry that we collaborated with, they also accept, I think, either bi-weekly or monthly volunteers to fold clothes that the community members who may need them can take. So they need help all the time, whether it's donations or volunteering. So that's another great opportunity for an ongoing project. You can also do one-time projects. I know that there's lots of events in the community. For example, our club would always volunteer at Earth Day every year. And I thought that was always really fun. It's a great chance to kind of collaborate with your community and your city and get involved and see what they have to offer while also donating your time. And you often learn things at these events, whether it's what goes into planning that event or maybe just whatever the event's about. You learn more just by being there. And also you can do a club planned or hosted service event. So this may be more for either older officers or officers that want to maybe collaborate with adults in either the community or their advisors to really get a service event plan that is solely put on by your club. So this will go into more of the next slide. But this is kind of an opportunity to really do something that is just with your club, and it shows a lot of leadership and initiative to do a big event that isn't really working with another group or with people outside of your club, but it's a great opportunity. So that kind of brings me into the community service project. This project is called My Hands to Larger Service. So this is a state fair opportunity project, and it's just another way to really get involved and enhance your experience as an officer. This is not required. This is just a project that you would take during the year. I think if you had an interest in taking this, the year that you're a community service officer may be the perfect time to. But I'll kind of talk about about doing the club hosted event now. So when I took this project, I hosted a blood drive. So I worked with the American Red Cross, and this was an individual project because I wasn't a community service officer at the time. But I worked with them and I planned the entire event. So you have to really be up for the challenge if you want to do something like this with your club or through this project. You have to remember that you have to be, like when I did mine, I had to get the venue, donors, snacks for the donors after they gave blood, volunteers. I had to promote the project, make sure that everything was up to code for the American Red Cross to actually come in and do the drive itself. So it's kind of, it can be challenging, and you definitely can't do it by yourself. So you need to make sure that you're incorporating others to kind of help you out. But it's a great chance to really expand your leadership goals and kind of what you want to do as an officer. So I think that's all I have. I had more of general ideas for the office itself, but are there any questions? Okay, thank you.
No questions for Maggie? Okay. Well, I want to thank Melina and Alex and Maggie for presenting tonight. And I'm going to stop the recording, and then I have just a couple of announcements.